And we're live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the live stream. Hopefully we don't have technical difficulties again. I did some testing before this. Everything was working great, and it looks like my stream rate is low again. I did some changes so that it'll adjust on the fly. So you shouldn't drop me, hopefully, here, but the picture quality might not always be the best throughout the stream. So hopefully that will be resolved sooner rather than later. I don't know what's going on right now. I have a direct connection, and typically the connection has been just fine, and now it's giving me a problem. So I don't know what's going on, guys, so I apologize if you tuned into yesterday's stream for the technical difficulties, and hopefully everything goes smooth this time around. So regardless, I don't think you're going to lose me at all. Picture quality might come in and out, so I apologize for that, guys. Hopefully it doesn't give us too much of an issue, but welcome into the live stream. Josh says, took first last night in the $20 ticket winner. Congratulations, Josh. Anthony says, who do you like tonight? We will get into it, Anthony. I'm going to talk about some DraftKings picks, some FanDuel picks, all of the above. Tat Alex says, congrats. Welcome in, Tat. Cameron, how are we doing tonight? Need a win tonight. Absolutely. This slate's going to be a fun one, guys. We got a bunch of different value coming through throughout the day. So we're going to get to do stars and scrubs, and we're going to get to build a lineup where we can pretty much get to anyone and everyone that we want, which is always fun if you ask me. So we're going to talk about it going along here. First, we're going to talk about DraftKings. Then we will talk about FanDuel. We'll do a game-by-game on DraftKings first. Then we'll talk about FanDuel, all of the above. So excited to get into it. If you do have any questions in the chat, please feel free to ask them. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it, guys. I apologize for the picture and everything that's going on. I'm going to try to tough this out. I might have to stop live streaming for a little bit if it's going to be this bad here, because it's been irritating, but I'm doing my best to get through it for you guys. I really want to be able to answer questions on the live stream. Hopefully we don't have too many issues here. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's do a game by game here. Golden State Warriors taking on Milwaukee, 7:30 lock tonight. As far as this game and the total, this game comes in right now with a 225 over under with a 1-point spread in favor of the Golden State Warriors. So expected to stay close, expected to be a really close game. It is a nationally televised game, which is always going to be friendly for our superstars on the slate. And again, it's expected to stay close. Giannis going to be a great pay-up option, one of the top pay-up options in the slate, and we will have plenty of value to be able to get up to him with the Golden State Warriors and the Brooklyn value that has opened up throughout the day. So getting him into our lineup should be a priority. It should be pretty easy to do as well. So not much of an issue when it comes to getting Mr. Giannis in our lineups. He's going to be a top priority for me. On the Milwaukee side, we're going to continue to see a lot of Bobby Portis. They got rid of DeMarcus Cousins. He's not really affecting the rotation any longer. So Bobby Portis has ramped up his minutes to 32, 37, 35 minutes. Very good fantasy point producer. Will continue to be a priority for me at 6'9" on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, I believe he's even cheaper. So Bobby Portis definitely going to grade out as a good play here. Chris Middleton is a guy that's priced pretty appropriately at this point, priced up on both websites, but he's shown his upside is there. Last two times out with no Drew Holiday, he's put up 53 and 57 DraftKings points. I do think that he's certainly a viable tournament play. He just kind of falls in a range where I'm not too sure if we're going to get there tonight, because we have so many really, really good cheap values and really good pay-up studs. So Chris Middleton is going to be viable, more of a tournament option, I would say. If I was playing cash games, I have a hard time imagining that I would have Chris Middleton in my lineup too much here. Just because I want to be able to jam in some of the top pay-up options. I mean, he would certainly be a fine cash game play, but I just think with the build and the way things are going to be going here, running it back on the Golden State Warriors side, I really don't have much interest on the Golden State Warriors side, to be honest with you. Stephen Curry would be the top option. Definitely a much better play on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel with the scoring format. On FanDuel, you get the 3 points for blocks and steals. You don't get that 3-point bonus like you do on DraftKings, where Stephen Curry can be really lethal from behind the arc, obviously. You know, one of the best shooters of all time. But I just really am not too interested in this Golden State Warriors lineup. We did just get a starting lineup. It's going to be Steph Curry, Gary Payton, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Looney. So Gary Payton's going to step into the starting lineup this time instead of Toscano Anderson. Does that really mean much for me? No, because Steve Kerr and the way he runs his rotations, who knows who's going to be popping in here. You have Jordan Poole, Otto Porter, Kevin Looney, Gary Payton. We talked about Andre Iguodala. I'm sorry, with Toscano Anderson, but Andre Iguodala is also going to be getting some minutes here at 3,500. A decent value play for me on this slate if you're playing over here on DraftKings. There is so much value on this slate, though, where I don't know if Andre Iguodala is really going to be a priority for me now. Grades out as a decent play for me, but there's definitely a lot of other value I like a lot more. So that'd be my approach here. You could take some shots on some guys in tournaments like a Dante DiVincenzo at 3.5 for the Milwaukee side. Just really, really cheap, and he can get you there. But do I think there's some other value that's priced in that price range tonight that's way better? Yes, I do. So we will talk about that as we go along the slate. But hint, hint, Portland, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't get the news, Portland, Brooklyn, going to be getting a ton of them tonight. So this game for me, it's really the Milwaukee side. It's mostly Giannis, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis. That's about it, honestly. Anything else, I think you're getting a little bit cute. Minnesota taking on Memphis. Second game on the slate. This game comes in with a pretty hefty total. Comes in with a 231 over-under with a 4-point spread in favor of the Memphis Grizzlies. So expected to be fast up-paced. Definitely have some interest in the pay-up options on both sides. But most notably the Memphis side, especially if there's no Steven Adams, could be a big bump up for Jaren Jackson Jr. And he's someone that I would certainly want to be getting some exposure to on this slate tonight. Would have a lot more rebounding upside against the Minnesota team tonight in a fast, up-paced game. If Steven Adams is back, he could be a pretty decent play, and that would certainly make Jaren Jackson Jr. a little bit less compelling. Don't get me wrong, he's still going to get a lot of usage with there being no Dillon Brooks, but the rebounding upside would come way down, and for that reason, his price tags come up. He would become a little bit less interesting for me on this slate tonight, so that would be kind of my approach there, waiting on that Steven Adams news. Regardless, Desmond Bane at 6'6" is a fantastic play with no Dillon Brooks. He's going to be shooting a ton. He's put up 15, 14, and 14 shots the last few times out in a fast, up-paced game. I would not be surprised in the least to see him have over 20 shot attempts in this one. Can really shoot it from behind the arc. Should have plenty of opportunities, as mentioned, with no Dillon Brooks. Gets a big bump up in usage, and should be a pretty great play at only a 6'6" price tag on DraftKings. If you're going to land there in the mid-range is a different question with the lineup builds and everything that we have going on here tonight with the Brooklyn and Portland Trailblazers value, but he's someone I would certainly be willing to get some exposure to, and John Morant, of course. Those two guys going to have a bunch of usage. No Dillon Brooks, John Morant, Desmond Bane, fast up-tempo game. When you're looking at the total in this game, their team has a 117 implied total. I believe that is the highest total on the slate. Yes, it is. So the Grizzlies expected to score the most amount of points on the slate, so naturally, it does make sense to be wanting to get some exposure to players on their team, most notably John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, especially if there's no Steven Adams for Jaren Jackson Jr. Like I said, if he's back, that's certainly going to take away some of his upside. Kyle Anderson, that will also affect. He probably gets less minutes in the rotation. Kyle Anderson could be a decent mid-range play. Do I think he really is a necessity on this slate tonight, though? Not really. Guess you could be going there for tournaments, but like I said, we're going to get to it. But the Brooklyn and Portland Trailblazers just offer so much value. It's not even necessary to really be talking about these guys too much. Running it back on the other side, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Conante Towns, all huge upside guys. Those are the only three guys I'd be willing to play on Minnesota. They soak up all the usage. Really want to be going to those guys. I guess you could take a risk on one more guy, and that would be Jared Vanderbilt. He's the top rebounder on the team. Looking at some of the stats, he put up 13, 16, 19 rebounds. Karl-Anthony Towns oftentimes likes to hang out around the arc, so you can make an argument for Jared Vanderbilt. But on this slate in his price range, do I really think it's necessary to be going there? Probably not. Probably not. LA Clippers taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Next game on the slate. This game is a game where both sides have valid options in all price ranges. Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas going to be the top two pay-up options on the New Orleans Pelicans side. Game comes in right now with a total of a 213.5 over-under. 4-point spread in favor of the New Orleans Pelicans, so expected to stay close. And once again, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, your top two pay-up options. Are we necessarily going to need to go to these guys in this price range in a kind of a slower-paced game with all the value we have? Probably not. Once again, we'll talk about that when we get there, but once again, tournament plays. All these guys that are kind of priced in this mid-range, like Chris Middleton, Jonas Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, all going to be tournament plays for me that you could be putting in your lineups that probably will be somewhat contrarian due to the very strong cheap value that we have and the very strong stars tier that we have tonight. So if you get a little bit different with your roster construction, could pay off for you big in tournaments, but I'd be lying to you if I thought that was the optimal way to go here. The Josh Hart at a price discount at 6'8", probably my favorite option for upside at his price tag on the New Orleans Pelicans side. Great rebounder, really good at racking up some peripheral stats, and he can shoot the ball as well when he gets hot. Guy has like 50-plus fantasy point upside every single time he takes the floor, and his price tag really isn't adjusted accordingly. Like, he arguably has the same upside as Brandon Ingram, and his price tag isn't there. It's kind of becoming almost like a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown thing. I'm constantly talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and how Jaylen Brown oftentimes is at a discounted price tag compared to Jason Tatum. and you could argue has the same upside. It's kind of starting to turn into that for Josh Hart and Brandon Ingram. So I think that's something to take note of here. You can certainly get a discount on Josh Hart. I think he has a bunch of upside. And I feel really comfortable playing him because I know he's not scoring reliant. He can get you there in multiple ways. He'll get blocks, he'll get steals, he'll get assists, he'll get rebounds, he'll score, all-around player. So I think Josh Hart, always going to be a viable play. And then when you look at the LA Clippers side, really going to be wanting mixing and blending these guys. They do get a great matchup taking on a New Orleans Pelicans team that has not been strong defensively, but when you look at their rotations, has been a little bit inconsistent. They have Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, Terrence Mann, Eric Bledsoe, all kind of just bouncing around, and it seems like as if the coaching staff is just going with a hot hand. So it's always possible for, Marcus Morris to be kind of taken out of the game and playing a short amount of run, and let's say like a Nicholas Batum gets hot and he stays in the game, that kind of thing. I will say Marcus Morris is my favorite option on this side. I do think he has the most solidified minutes. I was just using that as an example. I'm more worried about the guards, honestly, at this point. Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe. We've seen Amir Coffey step up and really play some big minutes as of late, so I think that's really interesting. He's played 33, 43 minutes the last 2 times out, producing really great, putting up 33 and 43 DraftKings points. So if they're going to continue to give him that allotment of minutes and he gets a matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans that are terrible defensively, still at a 5-2 price tag, I mean, he looks phenomenal for me tonight, so he's someone that I would certainly be taking note of and be willing to get some exposure to in my tournament lineups. But other than that, once again, the last 2 games, I've been saying it the whole time. We're going to get to it next. There's just so much better value. Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 3.9, sure, you could go there, but is there a possibility he doesn't even play nearly what he did last time at 3.9 price tag? Yes, there is. And we get to talk about the value next. Fantastic. Okay, this is the fun part of the slate. The last 2 games of the slate are the best part for value, for all the top pay-up options, all this fun stuff. James Harden at 10.7 is going to be a big priority for me on this slate tonight now. He's 10.7. There's no Kevin Durant. There's no Kyrie Irving. There is no Nicholas Claxton, no LaMarcus Aldridge, no Patty Mills, no Joe Harris. So this is going to be the James Harden show. His price tag has come down, anticipating that it was going to be Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving kind of in the lineup with him. He was up to 11.2. Now he's at 10.7. I will take that discount. He is the top pay-up option on the slate for me now. He's going to have a ton of usage, taking on an Oklahoma City team that does not scare me whatsoever. Now it's a 5.5 point spread, so we're not nearly as worried about the blowout as we were earlier when the line opened at like a 9 point spread. The biggest thing for me is keeping our eyes on who's going to start for the Brooklyn Nets. Right now, projected lineup of James Harden, DeAndre Bembry, David Duke, Kessler Edwards, and De'Aaron Sharp. We don't have that confirmed, though, so keep your eyes on that. Whoever starts is obviously going to get a bump. They're probably going to get the most minutes in this rotation. I do think they probably will play it, whatever they think matches up with the opponent's starting lineup best. So whatever the Nets coaching staff thinks, Steve Nash is not exactly predictable, so we're going to have to just get some confirmation on that. Could be anyone. They could start James Johnson, Cam Thomas, Blake Griffin, Bruce Brown. We really don't know, so we have to keep our eyes on that. For the time being, I mean, I'll just go with the projected lineup and hope that it's right. But we do need some confirmation on those Brooklyn starters. Regardless, I mean, James Harden's going to be a phenomenal play. Best pay-up option on the slate, and I think that Sharp is an easy value play. I think he gets to start no matter what as far as at the center position here tonight. Played 24, 22 minutes the last 2 times out. Gotten some foul trouble both games. He put up 30 and 29 DraftKings points in both games, and he's only 3-3. Over on FanDuel, he's got a very friendly price tag as well, so he's one of the top value plays in the slate for me, hands down. Grades out as the top value play over here on DraftKings. As far as FanDuel, he does grade out as the top value play, surpassing Dennis Smith Jr., who I have second, who's my lock of the night. But with this news, Sharp is my number 1 guy. And you could be playing so many guys on this Brooklyn Nets team tonight. It's actually ridiculous. Duke Jr., Sharp, Griffin, DeAndre Bembry, Kessler Edwards, Bruce Brown. Like I said, we really need the starting lineup. Whoever's in the starting lineup will be the one I'm getting most exposure to. If you were to ask me right now, my favorites, being that the starting lineup is projected to be James Harden, Bembry, Duke, Edwards, Sharp, it would go Sharp number 1 for value, James Harden number 2 as far as the pay-up option. He's number 1 pay-up option slate, though, so I still love him. Bembry, Edwards, Duke. Those kinds, you kind of got to all blend in, and I do think I'm going to like Cam Thomas off the bench quite a bit, or if he starts. Regardless, maybe he doesn't get quite as much ownership as he should coming off the bench, but I think it's going to be kind of the Cam Thomas show when he does get off the bench as the sort of 6th man in the spot. And he should get a lot of usage. And we know Cam Thomas can really shoot the ball when he gets hot. So I do think he's a pretty intriguing play as well that might get some low ownership. James Johnson is very cheap, minimum salary. I think he's probably going to get some minutes and some run in this game. So it's really absurd the amount of value we have, guys. All these guys are like 3K, 3-4. You should have no issues fitting in a James Harden, a Giannis Antetokounmpo in your lineups tonight, a John Morant, a Karl Anthony Towns, a Stephen Curry if you want to go there. In this last game, we have Nikola Jokic, which we'll talk about now. Should be able to fit him in very easily as well. So we're going to be able to get to any and all value that we want on this slate tonight. We're going to end the nightcap with this game. Another nationally televised game. Denver Nuggets taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Portland obviously really banged up right now. They don't have CJ McCollum. They don't have Damian Lillard. They don't have Norman Powell. So that's going to open up a ton of usage. They don't have Larry Nance. And they don't have Cody Zeller, most likely, who's listed as doubtful. So all of this value just adding on to the Brooklyn value we just talked about. We have Yusuf Nurkic, 7'6", a phenomenal play. Big bump up in usage. Should have a lot of shots, a lot of rebound volume, all of the above. We have Robert Covington, Nazir Little, both going to play a ton of minutes. Both have been producing at much higher rates with all these guys at the floor. Naturally, both going to be relied on to play big minutes again. Mid-30s, upper 30s minutes, they're both going to be great plays. We have Ben McLemore and Dennis Smith Jr., who are the top two plays as far as I'm concerned when you factor in the minutes and their price tags. Ben McLemore only 4.2. Dennis Smith Jr., top play on the slate at one point for me. He's now my second top play on the slate, but as far as value is concerned, but still phenomenal play here tonight. Going to get a bunch of usage. There is no Anthony Simmons. He should have more scoring upside, more minutes upside, obviously, more assist upside, and produces at a very high rate. When you're breaking down the value on the slate tonight for both the Brooklyn Nets and the Portland Trailblazers, all these guys produce at high rates. Now they're all being put into high-minute situations. So the obvious play tonight, if you've been listening to other people and they're not telling you this, I think they're crazy. It's very obvious, but it's the truth. We're just going to load up on all this Portland Trailblazers value. We're just going to load up on all the Brooklyn Nets value. And we're just going to load up on the pay-up options value. This is the ultimate stars and scrubs slate. You can fit in any studs you want with all this value. It's ridiculous. You can fit in Jokic, Giannis, Steph Curry, James Harden. Even if we let's just go ahead and throw all these guys in the same lineup for fun right now and see what we have. Yes. Oh, we can't obviously do that. So, I mean, let's just take Jokic out just because he's the most expensive. Yeah, if you put Stephen Curry, Giannis, and James Harden in the same lineup, they're the top three expensive guys outside of Nikola Jokic. You still have 3-1-6 per player left, and you could legitimately make a lineup like that tonight. Do I think that you should probably leave yourself a little bit of more value? Probably. I mean, like I said, I love Dennis Smith Jr. at 4K. Just putting him in alone probably makes it so you can't make this lineup work. If we go all minimum salary guys from here, yeah, we're not going to be able to make that work. So, but you get the point. You really can fit all these studs in tonight. There's really no excuse to not be playing stars and scrubs. And if you're not playing stars and scrubs, I think you're at a huge disadvantage. So that would be my advice on this slate tonight. That's a quick little breakdown of DraftKings. FanDuel is going to be really the same thing. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know in the chat. Looks like we have 18 people in here. Only 8 likes, guys. If you're enjoying this stream, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. I'll be here all NBA DFS season long, breaking down these NBA DFS slates to help you guys become better NBA DFS players. Help you guys win some money night in and night out. And let's switch on over to FanDuel. If you have any questions about DraftKings, though, please let me know in the chat. I'll gladly circle back around. We're going to talk about both websites on this slate tonight. So, looking at the FanDuel slate over here on FanDuel. It's going to be the same story for me. It's really quite simple. We have a lot of value. Once again, the Brooklyn value really going to be opening up some good stuff for us tonight. So we're looking at the point guard, shooting guard, small forward position, all the above. There's just so much value. It should be very easy to be getting these guys in. The small forward position, Giannis Antetokounmpo, going to be a fantastic pay-up option. We're going to have all the value to be fitting him in. Once again, it shouldn't be very difficult to get Giannis in your lineups tonight with all these guys we have. So Giannis, going to be a priority pay-up for me on FanDuel. If you're not playing him in your lineup, I think you're kind of crazy on this slate. Fantastic value. De'Aaron Sharp, we talked about over on DraftKings. Once again, one of the top value plays on the slate. He is only power forward eligible over here on FanDuel, so that does make things a little bit difficult as far as being able to pay down at the center position. But regardless, you got to be getting De'Aaron Sharp in your lineup at the power forward spot because that allows you to get to any and every center you want. One of the best value plays on the slate. And when you factor in that you can play a starting center at the power forward slot, it's kind of nice. You're getting another starting center in your lineup. I mean, we'll take that gladly. If you want to go him and Giannis at the power forward spot, you could easily do so. Bobby Portis, we talked about being a phenomenal play at 6'2". and a much higher upside usage play. With there being no Drew Holiday, with there being no DeMarcus Cousins now, his minutes are solidified, his usage is up, his rebounding upside's up. He's put up 10-plus rebounds the last 3 games, 12, 13, 11. Had a really poor game last time out as far as scoring and peripheral stats. He didn't really get any blocks or steals or anything like that, so that was a bit of a letdown for Bobby. But outside of that, really continuing to perform at a very high rate, so I do like that. At the center position, we have Nikola Jokic as a pay-up option. Obviously, one of the top pay-up options of the slate. It should not be too much of an issue getting him in your lineups tonight. With the fact that we have all this value. You know, you have Kessler Edwards at the small forward position. You have Robert Covington. You have Nazir Little. You have Dennis Smith Jr. You have, what am I trying to say here? You have Macklemore as well at the point guard and shooting guard position over here on FanDuel. So there is so much value. It really shouldn't be too difficult to be fitting these guys in. And you can do whatever you want. I mean, I'm going to keep getting the same question, I'm sure. What pay-up options should we be going to? I mean, the number one pay-up option on the slate for me, hands down tonight, is going to be James Harden. You take out all those guys on the Brooklyn side, and obviously he's going to be a fantastic play now. His usage is going to go way up. And with his usage going way up, obviously we're going to have a lot more interest in him. So James Harden's my top pay-up option on the slate by far. And if I had to pick one guy to be getting my lineups, it would be him. Time of Life says, FanDuel, Nurkic or Towns? I would go Nurkic at his price tag, but I think Karl-Anthony Towns probably gets a lot less ownership. And like I said, you can get to anyone on the slate. So if you want to get contrarian, Karl-Anthony Towns certainly makes a lot of sense. I think the top 3 options at the center spot are really simple. It's Nikola Jokic, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Yusuf Nurkic. You could mix in a Jonas Valanciunas, a Jaren Jackson, a Bobby Portis. Those 3 guys all look great out as great plays. But, I mean, we have so much value. It should be pretty easy to be getting in either Jokic, Nurkic, or Karl-Anthony Towns, and they all only have center eligibility. So you can't really play them anywhere else. So you might as well fill up your center spot with one of those high upside guys. So, yes, I do like all of those guys. If you're asking me to answer that question on an upside basis, I mean, for his price tag, it's going to be Yusuf Nurkic. The entire Portland team's out. He has a ton of upside. But Karl-Anthony Towns probably gets lower ownership, and Karl-Anthony Towns gets to play in a very fast up-tempo game with a 231 over-under. By far the highest total on the slate, really. And for that reason, he could be a great pivot, especially if he's not going to get ownership. So I will let you do with that information what you want, but that would be my answer there. Self says, what's up, KJK? Stream is choppy. Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on with my setup here, but I had to change the settings to be, I don't know if you guys know anything about streaming, but I changed it to a dynamic bitrate, which essentially means based upon the internet connection and how strong the stream is, it's going to jump around. Before, I had it at the YouTube standard recommended 9,500 kbps, and my stream just collapsed on me last night. So I did some testing before this. Everything was working great. It's working decently right now, but it could be working a lot better. But I really don't know the exact solution, and I figured it's much better to stream for you guys than not put anything out. So I'm just rolling with the punches now. I have the dynamic bitrate on so that I won't completely crash. The stream might lose its quality as far as picture, but at least it'll stay online and I'll be able to help you guys out. So I apologize for that, but that's just kind of dealing with it right now. Time of Life says, like Gordon, question mark. Do I like Gordon? I honestly, off the top of my head, when you say Gordon, I'm not even thinking of anyone. Aaron Gordon, 5'8", he's decent. I would like him a lot more if Will Barton's out again. We don't have that confirmation, so Will Barton listed as questionable. He is more so probable, so I expect Will Barton to play, and for that reason, I don't think Aaron Gordon's going to have nearly the usage that he had last game. So at a 5'8" price tag, I think he takes a big hit in usage. And when you look at this slate, Robert Covington right next to him is 5'8". The Portland Trailblazers are really short-handed. He's going to have way more upside. I would much rather play Robert Covington at the same price tag than Aaron Gordon. All right, guys. If you guys have not checked out the sponsor of the program, if you have any questions, please ask them in the chat. I will gladly answer them. But if you haven't checked out the sponsor of the program, Parlay Play, head on over to Parlay Play today. Use the code KJK003. You will get an instant match deposit up to $50. You get a risk-free $10 as well. That's what we started this KJK DFS Bankroll Challenge with. So you can go ahead and start playing for free over there with $10. Try to build your bankroll. Instant free $10 when you use my promo code KJK003. You also get a free instant match deposit. Well, free, I say, but whatever money you put in will be matched. when you use my link. I'll be putting that in the chat right now, guys. Go ahead and sign up. It is a great platform. And you will also get that instant match deposit and the $10 when you use the promo code. So you can try it out. You get the benefits of that. Check them out. Sponsor the program. It's another way of supporting me. I do greatly appreciate it. Have been enjoying this partnership with those guys over there. Have been enjoying the format, so check it out yourself. And if you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, I do offer an NBA DFS premium package over here on Patreon. I offer a Discord package as well. That's only $1 all month of January. Trying to give back to you guys. $19.99 for the NBA package. I promise you're going to get your value back very quickly out of that. You get my premium projections, core plays, data sheets. If you want to see a little bit behind the paywall, I did release a demo video on what my premium content package has to offer. A new video on my channel. It's called How to Win at NBA DFS using premium content tools from KJK DFS. Check that out if you kind of want to see what it's all about, but I can promise you, you're going to get your return on your value very quickly. $19.99 a month. You're going to win that money back very quickly. And if you want to check that out and you're playing every night, would highly recommend it. All right, so check out Twitter. I don't think we have any more news coming in. I pretty much know we don't, but just take a quick glance. If you guys have any questions in the chat, please do ask them. 7:30 lock tonight, so I'll be hanging around answering any questions that you guys have, and then I'll be bouncing out to the premium package to update my projections, my core plays, and answer any questions in the Discord chat for my premium content members. So that's where I'm always headed after these streams are done. If you want to join the team, would love to have you join the team, so check it out. And if you have any questions in the chat, please let me know now so that I can answer them before we head out. Looks like we got 20 people in here, 11 likes, guys. If we can get that up to 20 likes, that would be fantastic. That's the goal on all these streams. Haven't exactly been bringing in the biggest audience, but we're still rolling live every single night trying to help you guys out. So if you enjoy this content and you've been tuning in, liking it, please hit that like button. And if you have any questions, please do ask them in the chat. I want this to be engaging. That's why I started live streaming. I found that a lot of my pre-recorded content wasn't quite as engaging. And I wanted to be able to answer questions on the fly, go over these slates, go over all the injury news, all that fun stuff. So, started live streaming, and that's why we are here. Help you guys out. Self says, it's all good. Do you like Barton or Morris on FanDuel? If I had to pick between the two, I would probably go with Morris. Morris has more peripheral stats, which is really important over here on FanDuel. You need the blocks and steals to be able to rack up some more points. He's in a good matchup. I think he has more minutes upside. Will Barnes really scoring reliant. I mean, don't get me wrong, Marcus Morris is pretty scoring reliant too, though. I'm not gonna lie. So they're both kind of in the same category, but I just like Marcus Morris more. I think Marcus Morris has more usage, whereas Will Barton kind of playing, you know, third fiddle to Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. Kind of not exactly. Don't get me wrong, he has the upside, but typically I like to target Will Barton when one or multiple guards are out. We still have Monty Morris in there. We have Austin Rivers, Aaron Gordon. You know what I'm saying. If Aaron Gordon and Monty Morris were ruled out, then I'd be looking to really load up on this Will Barton for the time being. I mean, to me, it's pretty obvious. I'm looking to get a lot of Nikola Jokic exposure. And that's about it. Roscoe says, I missed your must-plays today. Do you have any? Well, can you tell me what website you're playing on, Roscoe? And then we can talk about it. I think this plate, it's kind of obvious to be able to answer on both, I think. But I don't like really being too broad. But my top options on the slate are going to be, it's really quite simple. All the Brooklyn value plays, all the Portland value plays, and all the pay-up options. So my favorite pay-up options on the slate would be Ja Morant. James Harden is my favorite play at a 10-7 price tag. He's the best pay-up spot on the slate, in my opinion. Now all these Brooklyn guys being out, love him. Giannis Antetokounmpo is another guy, and I think that you should be fitting at least two of these guys in your lineup tonight with all the value that we have. On the Brooklyn and Portland side, on Brooklyn, we have, with all these guys being out, Patty Mills, Nicholas Claxton, Joe Harris. You can go to a Cam Thomas, a Bruce Brown, a Kessler Edwards, a DeAndre Bembry, a Duke Jr. Sharp is one of the top value plays in the slate, in my opinion, so I love him. And then on the Portland side, you have all this value as well. You have Yusuf Nurkic getting a big bump up with all these guys being out on the Portland side. You have Robert Covington and Nazir Little playing heavy minutes, priced in the mid-range, producing at very high rates right now. You have Ben McLemore and Dennis Smith Jr., both priced at 4.2, 4K, really too low, and getting a ton of usage now. With there being no Anthony Simmons, no CJ McCollum, no Damian Lillard, they're going to be two of the top value guards. I'd be really highly prioritizing those guys. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your questions. I'm just loading up on the Portland Trailblazers and Brooklyn Nets value on both websites, and I'm paying up for those pay-up options. You should be getting at least two of Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, James Harden, Karl-Anthony Towns, John Morant in your lineup. Those guys are just too easy to be getting in your lineups tonight. They're top producers. My least favorite of all of them would be Stephen Curry. I think Stephen Curry has much more reasonable upside here on DraftKings, where you get the 3-point bonuses, than he does on FanDuel. So I will say that. But he's still my least favorite pay-up option. I mean, his team's the healthiest. All these other teams are dealing with injuries. The Bucks, there's no Drew Holiday. That's going to be a bump up to a Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Nets, there's a bunch of guys out, so James Harden gets a big bump up. On the Nuggets, there's no Jamal Murray. He's been out for the season, but that's been making Nikola Jokic a much better play. They're also dealing with injuries to a Michael Porter Jr., obviously. These aren't new injuries, but it's just making Nikola Jokic be one of the top fantasy producers so far on the season. When you're looking at my sheets over here, you can see that Nikola Jokic putting up 1.79 DK points per minute, Giannis Antetokounmpo putting up 1.74, and that is way higher than any other player. I mean, if I sort my sheets overall by DK points per minute, we have some guys that have been out for the season that come up to the top here, but man, we look at the guys that are actually playing reasonable minutes. We have Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, John Morant, James Harden, all leading the way, producing at much higher rates than Stephen Curry, Karl-Anthony Towns, these other guys. So to me, I really want to be locking in on these four guys tonight. Nikola Jokic, Giannis, John Morant, James Harden. And it's probably literally possible to be playing all four of these guys with the amount of value that we have. I mean, let's just do it. Let's just give it a try here. We have Nikola Jokic, John Morant. Obviously, there's going to be some positional problems here because John Morant and James Harden are both point guards. So, you put those two guys in, and then Giannis, I don't think you're going to be able to fit. You can't fit all of these guys, but if you take, so that left you with 3-5 left per position, though. If we go here, if you take Nikola Jokic out of the equation, he's the most expensive of the bunch. You put in Giannis, that leaves you like 3-6 approximately per position, and we have so much value. You could easily do that without even blinking an eye. You can put in so many different people in there. It should be very easy to fitting these studs in, and you gotta pay up for these studs tonight. So. AJT says Cam Thomas or Bruce Brown on FanDuel. That's really going to come down to who's starting, man. I don't know for the time being. I mean, I think I have to go with Bruce. I think I have to go with Cam Thomas there regardless. Bruce Brown has not been a big part of this rotation. They really have not been wanting to give him minutes. So could he step up and get a lot of minutes out of nowhere and just go off tonight? Yeah, we don't really know. Steve Nash is very unpredictable. We have Steve Nash and Steve Kerr on the slate, both of which like to mess with us DFS players. So I don't have the answers for you. But what I would say is when this starting, you really need to keep your eyes on who the Brooklyn Nets are starting tonight. The projected lineup is James Harden, DeAndre Bembry, David Duke, Kessler Edwards, and De'Aaron Sharp. I do believe that Kessler Edwards, Sharp, and Harden, those three are going to start no matter what. Bembry and Duke is where things get a little bit questionable for me. I don't know if they're necessarily going to start. So I would say that Harden, Kessler Edwards, Sharp, three of the top plays on the slate. But we do need confirmation on those guys being in the starting lineup. So B Shizzle says best two forwards at 4K or lower on DK. Best two forwards at 4K or lower on DK. One sec, I'll tell you on my sheet here. DeAndre Bembry and Kessler Edwards on the Brooklyn Nets. It's not even hard to answer that question, to be honest with you. Those two guys really pop out. Small forward, power forward eligibility for Kessler Edwards. Small forward eligibility for Bembry. Both are going to be fantastic plays. Both should be a big bump up in minutes, big bump up in usage, with the Brooklyn Nets dealing with all of these injuries. Roscoe says, can you take down today without DSJ? Yeah, if he gets hurt or gets an extreme value trouble or extreme foul trouble. Even if he gets in foul trouble, they'll probably have to keep him on the floor. But yes, you could, and I think the only way you could is if he gets hurt. So most likely, no, you're going to need him. But yeah, if he goes out there and for some reason something happens, gets hurt, and he's 60, 70% owned, yes, you could take down a tournament. But do I think that you need him outside of that? Yes. Pretty much the only way fading DSJ tonight is going to pay off for you, in my opinion, is if he gets hurt. So to answer your question, yes. Do I think that that is likely? No. And would it be my approach to be fading him? No. He's my lock of the night. He's my favorite play. I mean, we have Darren Sharp now with all this Brooklyn value opening up. That would top him as my top value play slate now. But Dennis Smith Jr. is number 2 for me. Those two guys I'm gonna be having in every lineup. For me, I'm risky though. I don't really diverse my lineups too much. I'm kind of a not a big amount of lineups guy, and I kind of stick my core plays and go all in on them. And if that pays off, it pays off big, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I don't really spread and diversify. That's just my personal strategy. Everyone's different. That involves more risk, more upside, rather than more safety. So whatever your approach is there, go with it. AJT says, already starting Kessler Edwards, LOL. Yeah, I mean, I think you should be. Kessler Edwards is one of the best value plays on the slate. So I will certainly be having him. And I think it's smart that you do. All right, guys, we got 15 people in here, 13 likes. If you enjoyed the stream, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Do greatly appreciate you guys tuning into the stream tonight. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. If you don't, I could probably head out of here, update my premium content, my core plays, my premium projections, my own lineups. Maybe we looked at some parlay plays tonight. I don't really have one per se because with all the injury news, it's been difficult for them to be able to post lines, which I understand on their part. I mean, they post stuff, and that's thunder. And guys get ruled out, so the parlay play, the format. I mean, you have the Bucks-Warriors game with some guys with some big bump-ups in usage. So if you want to go to the 2 or 3 picks in the Bucks-Warriors game, you have Stephen Curry, Andrew Wiggins on the Warriors side. The Bucks, you have Giannis and Chris Middleton. We talked about those guys getting a bump-up in usage. If you want to lock in some parlay plays over here using my code, certainly could be looking to do some of that tonight. I don't have any official parlay play bankroll challenge picks tonight. I'd like to get back into that sooner rather than later, hopefully. Tomorrow night there's a larger slate, so I think we could probably select some. I do actually think that this Grizzlies Timberwolf game could actually be a good one to be loading up on a parlay play. If you pick 4 picks and you get all right, you get a 10 times payout. So like if you put in $25, you get $250. I might just have to make a live pick here while we're on the stream. I'm going to put my link in the chat right now, guys. If you use the promo code KJK003, you'll get an instant match deposit up to $50. You'll also get a risk-free $10 to play with right off the bat using my promo code. So I'm going to put that link in the chat right now for you guys. And I think I'm going to give us a pick live on the stream right now because I think I'm feeling it. I think I'm feeling it about this up-pace Memphis-Minnesota game. So let me look at my projections. Let me look at parlay play. Parlay plays fantasy scoring format. I always pick the parlay points. So above their head, you can do points, rebounds, assists. Parlay points is like fantasy points. Typically, I'll go with the fantasy points for these picks. I just kind of enjoy picking fantasy points because I have a projection model. And I kind of base my picks on that. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. becomes a phenomenal play if there's no Steven Adams. We don't have confirmation on that. We already know Desmond Bane's a great play. 28.5 parlay points. I would certainly be willing to take the over on that. D'Angelo Russell comes in at 31.5. I'd be willing to take the over on that for sure. So let me look at this right here. So we have D'Angelo Russell, 31.5. Yeah, I've got him projected for way over that, so I'd certainly be willing to lock that in. Desmond Bane at his lines at 28.5. That's kind of appropriate, but would there be no Dylan Brooks in a fast up-tempo game, 230 over/under? I'd certainly be willing to take the over on that. Karl-Anthony Towns, 40.5. We have Anthony Edwards, I believe, is 35.5. Yeah, parlay points. I do have Anthony Edwards projected for more than that. So I think we might be able to lock in a 4-way pick here tonight. I'm going to make sure that I can lock this in myself, but I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to make this my parlay play pick of the night. So we'll go with the D'Angelo Russell over 31.5, Desmond Bane over 28.5, Anthony Edwards over 35.5, and John Morant over 41.5. I think I like that a lot. And $25 will win you $250 if you place that using my promo code. 20 will win you $200, 10 will win you $100, 5 will win you $50, 3 will win you $30, and 1 will win you $10. If you want to head on over there and lock this pick in. I think I'm going to be doing so myself right now, taking note of it, and letting my premium content members know in case they're not on the live stream tonight and they might be busy, that this is going to be my pick. So I like this a lot, actually. Fast up-tempo game. I don't think these lines are high enough. So lock that in, guys. If you have any questions in the chat, please let me know. But I'm going to actually be on my phone locking that in right now. And yeah. If you have any questions in the chat, please let me know. I'll be hanging out here for another 15 minutes if we have questions. If we don't, maybe I'll end the stream. But I like this parlay play. Use that code. And I would highly recommend you sign up for my premium content package. So I'm going to leave this on the screen. Kind of let you guys see what it has to offer. You can visit patreon.com/KJK_DFS if you want to check that out. But looks like we have 14 people in here, guys. If you have any questions about the slate, please ask. I'm glad to help, but I think it's pretty straightforward. We're going to load up on the Trailblazers value. We're going to load up on the Brooklyn Nets value, and we're going to count our money. I think it's really that simple. So that's what I would be going with, and what I will be going with, and what I would recommend you guys do. All the pay-up options, all the value. Love this. Love the parlay play. I'm going to try to get that in myself right now. And we are going to be rocking and rolling with it tonight. Minnesota taking on Memphis. What's your largest bank? Do you mean... First of all, what sport are you asking? Second of all, do you mean just in one individual tournament, or do you mean total winnings in a night? And then I will answer that question, because people define that differently. I've posted my largest tournament win on a single tournament, but I've won a lot more than that in a night because I took down multiple tournaments. Largest takedown from a first place, I banked $30,000 in MLB in April. In a general night, that night I was in like all the other contests, so I took down... I think that night I won about 70 in total with all the tournaments combined. 70,000. Nice. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, baseball is my #1 sport. I've been ranked in the Roto-Grinders rankings the last like 4 or 5 years as the top 100 player out of like 22,000 people. So if you play baseball or if you don't play baseball, and you're new to my content, you've been watching my NBA content, I would highly recommend you stick around during baseball season. Hopefully the lockout ends. That's going to really stink for me. I love baseball. I just love baseball as is. Like, I'm a big baseball fan. I love watching it. But it also just so happens to be my #1 DFS sport, so that obviously doesn't hurt my feelings winning some money while watching it. But, yeah, my first big win was an NBA. And I think in 2016, I was still in college, and I turned $25 into $15,000. That was my first big win in the dorm room. And then from then on, we've been getting serious about DFS. So yes, sir, that is my biggest takedown. All right, guys, I'm going to be locking in this parlay play. Like I said, if you haven't signed up yet for the parlay play bankroll challenge, or if you haven't signed up using my link, I should say, would highly recommend that you do. Kind of just hanging out here on the stream speechless, but I think we've covered this slate pretty well, and I haven't got any more questions. So if that's the case, I'll probably bounce out of here. But I'm going to give you guys like another 3 minutes to ask any questions you want, and I will gladly cover it for you. But yeah, I'm locking in this pick right now, so that's kind of why I'm looking at my phone. I keep getting distracted because we're on the stream. Typically, I try to lock these in before the stream, but I like the John Morant over 41.5, Anthony Edwards over 35.5, Desmond Bane over 28.5, and D'Angelo Russell. So I'm going to be locking that in myself here. And $25 will turn into $250 if you place that tonight over there on Parlay Play. You get a risk-free $10 to play with off the bat. And would recommend that you check them out. Use that risk-free $10, and you can start locking in all these type of different picks. And I'll be giving out these picks on the stream. So, yeah, we have D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, and all of this fun stuff. Will 10x your money tonight if we hit, so... All right, it looks like we don't have any more questions. Looks like viewership's dropping here. No one's really wanting to ask anything else. So if that's the case, I will gladly head out in this stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. So you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Wishing you guys all the best of luck tonight. Make sure you're playing Dennis Smith Jr., my lock of the night. Fairly easy one tonight. Usually I try to kind of make my lock of the night a little bit unpredictable. I try to change up the thumbnail so you don't know what's coming. Sometimes the thumbnail's the lock of the night. Most of the time I'll put someone else so it's a little bit a suspense build up. But yeah, guys, that is all for me. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. If you did, hit that like button. Wishing you all the best of luck tonight on this slate. We'll see you in the next one. If you want to sign up for the premium content package, you can. Link below in the description. I got all sorts of stuff down there. The merch store, the parlay play link, all my other referral links. So check it out. Wishing you guys all the best of luck tonight. And we will see you in the next one.